Sanjana. I'm 25 years old and I'm currently working with an NGO called Enfold India. They work to prevent child sexual abuse and I'm a facilitator with them. I work with children. I had depression for a few years. Um, it didn't start all of a sudden. I didn't realize one fine day that I was depressed. Um, I I think it started in 2009. I was in Argentina actually. I was in a new country all by myself, and I was pretty lonely over there. And I think at that time I didn't realize it, but I was a little sad. I went there a little later than the rest of the people in my course because I had a lot of problems getting my visa. And so I never really made friends, and I had a lot of time alone. And also at that time, I was in a long distance relationship, and so I was missing that person a lot. So it was probably a combination of factors that made me lonely. And at that time, I didn't do anything to come out of that loneliness. And then after I returned to the US, it was there was no one thing that I would say was a trigger then. It was just it just carried over that feeling, and then it just slowly became worse. There were times when I would feel really sad, but those were the times when I would feel things, and then there were times when I wouldn't feel anything. At that time, I think this must have been in 2010, I did see a counselor in the US as well. Um, and I felt like for a while I felt that it helped. But even that didn't really help. And I think what probably pushed me deeper into depression was that at the end of that's called the spring semester, so in May of 2010, I broke up with the person whom I was seeing at that time. I mean, we had kind of decided anyway that we would break up because I knew that I wanted to return to India and I knew that he wanted to stay in the US. But I broke up then with him, and I came I came back to India, and then I was kind of okay for 2 months, and then I returned to the US, and he and one of my best friends started going out. They started seeing each other, and so it became kind of very difficult for me. And she was also my housemate, so it became very difficult for me to be with them. And because a lot of our friends circle was the same, I started avoiding a lot of people. And also there was the our dining hall, we had a cooperative where everyone would cook together and eat together. And because both of them were there, and all the rest of our friend circle was there as well, I decided that okay, I'm not going to go there for a couple of months, 3 months or so. And then um, once I stopped going, it became really hard to say, okay, now I should go again. And I just shut myself off from everybody. First, it became easier to not see anyone. And then I started becoming really afraid of seeing anyone. And then I just stopped feeling anything. So um, I think probably the isolation didn't help. There was a period of time when I was really isolated from everyone, and I only really saw people when I went to my classes. And I think in retrospect, that was probably not a good thing to do. I studied in the US, so when I returned there, I slowly the sadness stopped being sadness. Like I it came to a point where I stopped feeling things. At the same time, I was really scared in another part of me that why am I not feeling anything? And it also felt like I couldn't think properly. Then there were times when I would kind of wake up from this sadness and not feeling things, and I would feel really afraid. I would be like, what is happening? What is going on? I've always been someone who is very imaginative, and I am very curious by nature. But when I was depressed, I wouldn't I I wouldn't want to know anything. I wouldn't want to do anything. I wouldn't um, I wouldn't be able to think. And at that time, I was in college, and um, doing my assignments became really hard because it seemed like I just couldn't think of what to say or what to write. And that after that stage came a stage where I didn't even want to go out of my house. I stopped going to my classes, I stopped meeting my friends, I stopped doing anything really. For example, I stopped enjoying my favorite movies. They just they had no impact on me anymore. Um, or I really love food and I really love cooking. But when I was depressed, I didn't care. I wouldn't eat for days because I just didn't care. There were days when it was really hard to just get out of bed even or brush my teeth. It seemed like a huge accomplishment to do that, but not even an accomplishment because there was no sense of accomplishment. It was just an effort. And then there was a time when I didn't even I started thinking that it's better that nobody meets me because I want to spare them um, the pain of seeing me like this. So, for example, I would say to my parents, like my parents would call me from India, and I wouldn't talk to them for months because I knew that they were worried, but I would send them messages from time to time, but I never talked to them face to face because I knew that they would figure out that something's wrong. And then after that, there was a time when I felt like, okay, there's no point. Um, it's better for everyone if I just don't exist anymore. Then I started like seriously considering suicide, and I imagined a variety of ways. Um, there were days when I would so a couple of times I just started walking out of my out of where I was living at that time. I just started walking, and there was a highway nearby, and there would be lots of trucks and buses going by on that highway, and I would just think, what if I just stepped in front of one of them? And then I would say, no, but that would cause so much trouble to the driver who hits me. So then I would say, okay, no, that's not a good plan. So I would return home, like eventually, after an hour or two, and I would be completely exhausted. And I would just sleep a lot. Then there was a time when I wouldn't even be able to sleep. Like, I spent a lot of time um, just um, reading random articles online and watching videos, but not really taking anything in. It was just a way to escape my brain. One day I had to and this whole time I was kind of struggling with my schoolwork, and one day I had to go, and I don't remember what exactly. That whole period is kind of fuzzy in my mind. I had to go to meet a professor, I think, because I remember sitting down on the bench outside the professor's offices building, and I remember I sat there and I realized at that moment that if I go home now, by that time I had kind of decided the whole thing of how I would commit suicide and everything. I had decided that I would take a knife and I would slit my jugular vein and my wrists. And I had just said that I sat down on that bench and I realized that if I go home, I'm going to do it. Like, if I move from this spot and I reach home, that's what I'm going to do. That was kind of the moment where, like, I had a brief moment of clarity. I was like, okay, this is not right. Like, this is this is scary. Like, I felt really afraid at that moment. I think, I don't know, there was some instinct of preservation or what, I don't know. But that's when I called my friend and I said that, you know, I'm sitting here and I realized that if I come home, I'm going to commit suicide. My friend called the security people. Um, so over there, they have a sort of like a campus police, and she called them, and they came and picked me up, and they um, they didn't allow me to go inside my house. My roommate brought a few things like my clothes and things, and they drove me to the hospital. And there I was admitted into uh, they have a ward for, um, I don't know, like mental disease or something like that. So I was admitted into the ward over there, and I was not allowed to take anything with me. So they had their own clothes and everything, and they searched my bags and everything, all of that. And they made me stay there for 2 or 3 days, I'm not sure, I don't remember now. And they put me on a certain kind of medication. My aunt lived a few hours away from there. So she and my uncle came to the ward and they picked me up, and she took me to her house. And then I stayed there for around 3 weeks, I think. Then my mom came over from India because at that time, of course, they had also come to know all these things. I don't know whether I called them or whether my friend called them. I'm not sure at all. Like, I can't remember much of that period because my mind was kind of blank at that time. And then my mom came, and somehow I managed to finish my degree. And then I spent a few weeks traveling with my family, and I returned to India. And I was still on antidepressants. And um, I did see a counselor here a few times during that time, but somehow that didn't work out then. Just, I think, being at home, and I don't know. I worked with YFS for a while during that time, and having something to do which was different from what I had been doing, I think that helped. I did my master's the year after so all this was in 2009 and 2010, and then I started my master's in 2012. And even then there were times when it was really difficult to finish my work. I think I had uh, a lot of remaining, I don't know, fear and mental blocks, I think, um, because of the struggle that I had had with my work before. And it's just that at times again I would become very depressed, in the sense that I wouldn't be able to think, I wouldn't be able to work. um, and but then I had mostly I had completely stopped the antidepressants. I didn't I It wasn't so bad anymore, like I wasn't suicidal or anything like that. It was just sometimes difficult to interact with people, difficult to work, difficult to do my daily activities, and there would be like a couple of weeks, probably out of 2 or 3 months, where I would not want to talk to people at all. I would not go out anywhere, sometimes spend a couple of weeks without seeing anyone, and my parents would get really worried. I finished my master's degree too with a little bit of struggling, and then I started working in a place called Swasti, and working there was good for a while, but I realized that again there was a lot of pressure in that job where I was. and I was not equipped to deal with pressure at that point in time. And so um, I, but I have to say that they were really helpful. Like the people there were really helpful, and they also recommended a counselor whom I could see. And so I did, this time I did talk to a counselor, and it did help. Like, I think before I was just not, like, my mind was not like ready to actually deal with things. Um, and this time I was like, I was actually able to process my emotions, and like I felt emotions, and I was able to think clearly. So actually, that, when you're able to do that, I think, um, I would say that that's like you're kind of coming out of depression. If you feel sad, that's really nice. I think just being around people more would have helped. Um, I think I consciously or unconsciously isolated myself a lot from people, and I didn't go out of my way to talk to them. And I feel that in retrospect, I feel that I should have. I should have spent more time around people. I think it forces you to consider somebody other than yourself. I think depression can also be very selfish. Like you said, being a little hard on yourself, saying that no, this is not okay, it's not right. Like you can't, and just forcing myself to step outside of myself, really. Go meet other people, do the work which I am supposed to do, step outside of my house, you know, just really do things, like force myself to do things. And after a couple of days of doing that, I would get back to a sort of more or less normal frame of mind. I think even before, if somebody, like before I was hospitalized, if somebody had been there who would have just, forced me to go out of the house, forced me to do all these things, maybe some of what I went through could have been avoided. I think that that's like a lot of people mistake depression as sadness, but having gone through it myself, I can say that it's not sadness really. Like feeling sad is like you actually have feelings, but when you're depressed, it's like your feelings are in some part of your mind which you don't even know, and the rest of you is just doesn't feel anything, and it makes it really difficult to function on a day to day basis, because all the time you just feel tired of everything. It's like, I don't know, like somebody's put a 50-kilo weight on your head or something, but not just your head, it's like your whole body. So depression isn't like sadness, really. Like when someone is sad, they cry a lot, and you know they say that they're sad, and they might not eat for a little while, or do all those things. But someone who's depressed might appear to be okay, uh, but they won't come forward and talk to you, for example, or they won't. They might stop eating much. They might stop sleeping. They might withdraw into themselves, and they might appear to be aloof. They might appear to, they might make you really irritated and angry actually, because they are not really thinking about you at all. And someone who's depressed will probably not want to see you or meet you or talk to you. They might stop doing their work. They might stop going out. Um, they might stop enjoying the things that they enjoyed before. All these things that you might notice. Like a person may not look sad, and if you ask them, they may not say that they're sad, because what they are is not sad. Like they're not really feeling anything. So if you ask them, what are you feeling, they probably won't know how to answer you. It's not that a person who's depressed doesn't want to do something. They know that there are things that they have to do. It's just that it's impossible for them to move themselves to do it. I think that if I talk about it and more people talk about it, hopefully people will stop thinking that getting help for depression is something that makes you less, or that should be looked down upon, or whispered about, because it shouldn't. And that's why it's important to break the silence. A lot of the time, the thing that helped me the most was just to have people around me but not making any demands on me. Like knowing that this person is sitting next to me, but not that they expect me to like have a full-fledged conversation with them. you know so I would say that, okay, you shouldn't leave that person alone, but also you shouldn't force them to interact in a way that they're not capable of doing. Really, I wasn't capable of interacting with people on any high level when I was depressed. But sometimes it was just enough to know that this person is there. And really, like, for example, when my mom came over, most of the time she wouldn't even talk to me that much. She would do her own work. Um, she would, but she would just remind me from time to time that, okay, you need to do this, you need to do that. But most of the time she was just there. And just knowing that she was there, like at night she was sleeping in the same room as me, just knowing that she's there, that really helped. I think the advice for people who are with someone who's depressed is like, really be patient with them. Like, don't take any of their shit, but also don't don't force them to be like, don't artificially try to cheer them up, because they don't need cheering up. That's not what is the problem. They need to know that they're worth something. So now I can say that I'm not depressed. Um, I'm quite happy, actually. I make plans, I want things, I get excited, I even feel sad. Sometimes I feel angry, I feel frustrated, I feel happy, and I, I make plans for my future, which I think is the nicest thing. It's like I actually take great joy in making plans now, because it was something that I couldn't do for so long. And recently I did a meditation course, and that helped me too, because it helped me in a way to um, feel all the feelings again, and not not get bogged down by them this time. No, I don't think there's anything I can't handle. Um, I think that there might be some things which are more difficult, but I think I can handle them. And I'm not too proud now to ask for help when I feel like it's too much for me alone. Don't feel don't feel that there's something bad about you if you go to a psychiatrist and ask for their help. I mean, if you have appendicitis, wouldn't you go to the doctor and get your appendix removed or get medication for it? Or if you have pneumonia, wouldn't you go to the hospital? It's the same thing. You have your brain needs some help, just like any other organ in your body. Sometimes your brain also gets sick, and that's what it is right now. So you don't have to feel bad about it. don't be afraid and don't be too proud to ask for help. Everyone needs help sometimes. Today you need help, tomorrow you might be able to help somebody else. So reach out and ask for help. It's okay. It's really okay. And things will get better. They really will.
एक आवाज